Good morning,
Good morning.
Kevin. Thanks for joining us here today. Appreciate you sitting in the hot seat and answering some questions. Please introduce yourself.
My name's Kevin Iden.
Where are you from, Kevin? Where were you born and raised? Maybe talk a little bit about your background.
Um, was raised and born in Arvada, and that too. I was the last in my family of three kids. Was raised Catholic and went to high school at Arvada West, where I was in the gifted and talented program. And once I came out of high school, I spent several years in a monastery in Missouri and came out and worked camp one summer and met the gal who became my wife. We're divorced now, but that's pretty much the start of my life and that.
All right, great. What did you do from there? What was your profession at that point?
I was a history teacher on the high school level, and then I also worked in group homes as a counselor and kept me busy and kept me going.
History teacher locally.
With Denver Public Schools, and then with the group homes with kids that came out of the detention centers, and that I worked with, and
Was
that.
that a volunteer thing, or was that just your
No, it
passion
was
for that?
it was paid, and I had a good passion for it, and was pretty made a pretty positive impact. I felt on a lot of young people's lives, and that, and transferred into working with the developmentally disabled and that, and spent a number of years doing that and living in sometimes in the homes themselves and helping with the disabled.
Hmm, you're a helper.
I it fit my personality and character in that, I feel so.
So, Kevin, I understand that at some point in your journey, so to speak, you became homeless.
Yes,
Would you mind describing that? Like, how did you're a history teacher and working in homes. How did you go
you
to home?
bet. I was living and helping developmentally disabled individual, a male, and his parents passed away, and his siblings wanted him to move up closer to them, up in the Greeley area, and move in with them, and didn't have much of a savings account or that, and just like that, in a heartbeat, I ended up being homeless.
About what year was that?
Oh, that would be about 5 years ago or so, and so right now we're in 22, so about in 2017, 2016.
So you're working, you're in the home, and then one sort of minor change.
Yeah, it
So
changed everything for me, and it happened again in a heartbeat,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that.
And then how did you find Mission Arvada?
I was staying in clothes rooms in apartments, and that were left unlocked, and then that's where I'd spend the night. And I ran into an individual who told me about Mission Arvada, and so I started coming down for meals and for showers, and that, and it changed everything for me when I was homeless, and that. And they turned me on to Jefferson Center for Mental Health, and started counseling with the mental health over there, and they set me up with a doctor and with some meds, and got a lawyer, and ended up getting full disability and that, and so it was changed everything for me when I started coming to Mission Arvada.
That's amazing. I mean, you're a good example of that idea of like wraparound services,
Yes,
you
very
know,
much so.
because that's exactly how we sort of want these interactions to go, right? Is provide
Yes,
help in various forms.
I was a prime example of how things could work in that.
Well, you were a part of that too, right? I mean, you had to do the work,
Yes,
you know?
you have to step on out and really follow through in that, which I did, and that I felt very blessed to have these opportunities that places were providing for me.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. And I understand that recently you've been a recipient of housing.
Yes,
How
I
long has that been? And maybe describe that if you could.
that's been about going on 2 years now. I got a voucher from Arvada Housing Authority just about the same time I got my full disability. And they helped me find an apartment complex, Mission Arvada, that they were putting people into that were in my situation. And so I pay a portion of my disability each month, and of course that changed everything also for me to have a place where I could put my head and shower and actually live, and that
Yeah, yeah, that does change everything.
yes, it does,
Yeah,
absolutely, Kevin.
yeah. Um, how how's your outlook on the future? What do you think? You've been in this situation for the last roughly 5 years, right? And
Yes.
now you're in a house, and what do the next 5 years look like?
Feeling pretty positive about things. I volunteer now at Mission Arvada, and I run the showers Monday through Thursday. And then I got involved with the church here, the Rising, and I also play drums with the Rising and go to class here. And it's just been a blessing all the way around, is how I would put it. And that it's very much settled me into a life, and feel again pretty positive about the next coming years, and feel like I can make a real contribution to Arvada as a city and society as a whole.
I love it. I think you're
And
doing a
that
pretty good job now at that too.
I'm on some meds, but that works well, and I run that through Jefferson Center for Mental Health, and keeps me settled down, and that so that's been a wonderful part of it also.
That's great. That's great. What would you say to what would you say to someone who doesn't understand homelessness? Um, what are some words that you might share with people out there that don't understand
It's
this
very
situation?
much a misguided view. Well, now, when I ended up homeless, it changed my view to the situation absolutely. And I've ran into a number of people who had my same experience, were in a heartbeat because of various reasons that they ended up homeless. And you always have that stereotype that there's alcohol or drugs involved, and sometimes there is a chemical dependency, but often and more likely than not, it's just folks that have had something really upset in their lifestyle or job, and they end up on the streets. And it happens again, just like that, just like with me, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I heard somewhere, somebody said once that it's like we're all one decision away from completely changing our lives, or we're one situation away from a complete change in our lives.
I would say there's absolute truth in that.
Yeah,
You betcha.
yeah. It could be a job loss, or you miss a paycheck, or
Yes, often, and many folks in America are living paycheck to paycheck, and I've ran into a number of folks here helping when I've been volunteering and helping out, that literally lost their jobs, and they were depending on a paycheck to paycheck existence, and so they ended up on the streets.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story. Thank you for that. And please, it's good to see you in here. So keep coming in and helping change society.
It's a blessing to me. It really does, and I appreciate being able to come back here and help. and that it really makes my life feel very, very meaningful.
Good. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
That's it.